Hi, Chris. So, how's everything going over there?
Oh, just busy as ever and just trying to be positive and you know.
And you got that tile all out of the way now, also, right?
Yeah, yep. I just gotta mount the toilet now and then it's ready to go. So yeah, I did grout sealer, waited for that to dry. So yeah, about there.
Listen, I think we both wanted to talk about the natural competition, but it seems like every time we got a little more Rammy. So let's do a couple of minutes of the Rammy update.
Okay. All right.
He he did fly. He flew to Saudi Arabia. I wasn't sure whether he was. Some said he was going there do his pilgrimage to Mecca like they do once a year. Some say a podcast. Obviously, he did a podcast and he did an interview, and it had to be translated, so you can't hear it directly. It's through a translator. But he was asked about how much longer he's going to be competing, about retiring, and he said by the age of 38, was he promised his kids by 38 he'll retire. He's 37. He's 38 in September. The Olympia is not till December again this year. So what's going on? What's going to happen?
That'll be interesting. I'm sure. So this basically saying it is like his last year.
It's like it's getting more people. I think people are blowing off the idea that he might not compete again, but it's not. It's sounding more and more believable the more that comes out.
But yeah, I mean, it's obviously on his mind for retiring. So if he shows up this year, like you said, he's got to bring it to win because he's not. He probably doesn't have as many brownie points as he had last year. With the
Yeah,
whole organization, with the way he didn't show up on some stuff.
no disrespect like that. No. Hey, did you happen to check out? I I touched on it briefly about the natural bodybuilding or natural competitions.
Mhm.
Uh, whether it's safer or are they really natural? First thing I hit on was, let's say the bodybuilder is totally natural. You're preparing for a competition uh, and you're doing it right. It's not the healthiest thing in the world anyway. It's not very healthy to get down to the body fat levels that we're trying to get down to, whether you're natural or enhanced. You're still going through the dehydration process. So when you talk about healthier as far as the bodybuilding competition, natural, even if it's truly natural, it's not really healthier, is it?
Yeah, I'd say neither side is really healthy. There's pros and cons, I think, to either side as well. So, like where people are enhanced, they have the benefits of having some hormones that natural wouldn't have, especially when you're that low on body fat. Your body's probably not producing hormones at the level it should. So, on that standpoint, being natural, you're going to be suffering pretty bad there. In fact, I believe people who've dieted too hard have permanently ruined themselves. Now that I think about it, at least on the natural side, I've heard stories about that, um, like their hormones and such. And then, then you got people who are cheating and they're probably taking all this wacky, crazy stuff to mimic what steroids do. And maybe they're doing some stuff that, people don't know what's going to do down the road kind of thing. Uh, you got pro hormones and you got all those new peptides and all that other crazy stuff that people, I hear mixed stories about. So I'm sure you got a lot of natty guys doing that, you know.
Uh,
Aside from the stories I have from what I've seen, definitely some guys playing around with some stuff, you know. So
you mentioned about the effects on the hormones, natural as enhanced have an advantage where because they're still getting hormones in their body, but their natural production is still affected. Whose is easier to jumpstart? The natural guy whose hormone levels are affected because of the process he's going through to lose all that body fat and dehydration and all that, as opposed to the enhanced guy who loses his natural because he's giving it exogenous. Who's, do you know the answer to it? Whose will kick back easier?
I'd say either side, nothing would be easy about it, but I would like having the benefit of some hormone replacement, you know, while in that state. So, and you know, I'm not the kind of guy who would go crazy about anything. So, for me, it would be a way to keep myself feeling good through the bad times.
Yeah.
I always think of health first. So,
So you're trying to tell me now also you think that I'm saying this a little being sarcastic that in a lot of these natural competitions that competitors really are natural.
there's definitely some natty guys there who, you know, have the integrity. And there's definitely some guys who have been there who probably are still there who are playing around with stuff in the off season currently. And then there's some people who are around who used to do stuff back in the day who might be natural now. And it's not hard to achieve that because
I saw it at an advantage. If you were doing it
yeah,
back in the day, and now, if you kept up with your training, eating good, there's still some degree of muscle memory. That's a natural advantage anyway.
absolutely. So, you know, imagine if like Jay Cutler or, you know, Lee Priest was off of everything or whatever, and they decided to compete in a natural competition, they'd probably kill it, you know. Uh, so
Lee Priest,
yeah,
you saw pictures of Priest as a 17-year-old natural, and
yep.
he was beating adults that were enhanced. I
Well,
seen pictures of him as I think 12, 13 years old, and kids don't have muscles like that.
I
He's a true freak. You mentioned him and Jay Cutler together. Jay Cutler was once asked who's the freakiest guy he ever saw, and he over and over says the
Lee Priest.
freakiest guy that he ever saw was Lee Priest.
Even Ronnie Coleman says that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I agree. I always thought that, like growing up, I remember because you know they used to air bodybuilding on ESPN, and I've seen Lee. That's where I saw Lee Priest a
Oh
couple
yeah.
of times. And my dad and I used to watch that when it would come on. We didn't know when it would, but we'd watch it. And I remember Lee Priest, man, he stood out to me. He was like, I mean, of course, his arms, you know, prevail over everybody, but his overall shape and roundness and everything combined, I think he was one of the greatest ever. So
If there was 212 back then, he would have.
oh
But then again, even if they had a 212 back then, I don't think he would have listened to him talk now about it. I don't think he would have done it went that way anyway. He
that's
would have
right.
wanted to compete against the big boys.
Yeah. Yeah, he would so if he wanted to, he could do both. He'd win the 212 just for shits and giggles and then, you know, go into the open as well and try to win that.
Did,
But
did
yeah,
he also? We're talking about natural and everything.
uh,
We saw what he looked like naturally as a teenager. Didn't he also initially turn pro natural, or did he start just before he turned pro?
I don't know. I don't know. It probably is very close, either way. Either don't quote me on it. It's either a year before or a year after when he became pro, but I'm really not sure.
Yeah,
That's kind of what
I
I
know it was
remember.
close.
I think he said he was
I
17.
know it was close.
Yeah.
When he
And then
started.
I think so. I could be wrong, but I thought that's what he said. And then also Lee Priest won that NABA contest. What was it, back in 2013 or something like that? Wasn't he natural? He said he did it without anything.
It was. It also many think, and I think also, if not his best, one of his best looks. Also,
He looked great.
he really his conditioning. There was another competition where, I mean, he like absolutely nailed his conditioning. It was before that. I'm trying to remember. It was one of his shows that really stood out because everything came together completely with the conditioning also. But yeah, he absolutely nailed his conditioning. He looked great. He
You
looked
know,
great, and I don't. If he was on, you know what? He's always been straightforward by that. He'll say some stuff about himself that if other people had those things about themselves, they would never reveal it in public. All right. So if he says he's only doing this and this, to think he was lying, the things that he's honest about, that other people would not dare say in public about themselves, he talks about. So why would he lie about this?
yeah,
Even if he was using, he wasn't using much at all.
I believe it, man. The most minimum effective dose is the way to go. And
You know, that should be everything. Also, I think I have that attitude about even with your diet. Also, I think people are eating way more food than they need to be eating.
speaking of
I think
food,
should you build it up, just like if you were doing with your dosing. If if it's working, keep it. If it's not working, try a little more. If it helps, uh, okay, and then see. Then maybe end up trying a little more after that. If it's not working, maybe it's because you reached your limit. But go up a little bit at a time and see and see how your body's responding. I think people are eating much more food than they need to be. I really also believe that you don't have to put on you're going to put on some. I don't think people have to put on nearly as much body fat as they put on in order to put on the muscle they put on.
yeah, I agree. Especially back when I was much smaller and I was trying to get big. Yeah, I would just eat everything and yeah, I got up, over 200 pounds once for the first time, and but I was chubby as shit. And then when I got ready for a contest, I had to lose like 40 something pounds. And I thought, man, that was stupid. Like, I'm never gonna get that overweight again. Uh, and on top of that, I wanted to
We
say,
want
well, you remember when Lee Priest got up to
we want everything fast. Fast. Yeah, well, he also is. It's hard to use him as a comparison, like people like him and Ronnie Coleman, because they're two such extreme genetic freaks that you can't. It's hard to apply things that you apply to them. It's very hard to apply to other people because
well,
they're
yeah,
really two extremely genetically gifted people. In different ways, but extremely genetically gifted.
but
Superior to the most.
you remember though when Lee Priest, how heavy did he get to? Was it like 280 or 285, something like that? Remember?
He got up at least 270. At
Yeah.
least I'm saying at least 270.
That was
And
and what?
He's barely 5'5", if he's 5'5". I think he's between 5'4" and 5'5".
And that to me is just you can't top that. The way he was like that one video of him walking on stage, and I think he was in like a tank top and like some shorts or something like that when he was 280 something, 280, 270.
So
And
I've seen something.
but
Yeah,
he carried the weight well. I mean, yeah, he looked kind of like a blimp, but like he didn't look like a fat ass still, even at 280, 275 at his height.
there was, there was still a lot of muscle
Yeah.
uh, underneath that fat he was carrying. But when we talk about Lee Priest off season, I can't help. First thing that comes to my mind is a picture of him standing there, full blown off season with a bucket of Kentucky Fried Chicken in his hand, and he's taking a bite out of a drumstick or whatever. And a big butt over there. He's unshaven.
Yeah.
That picture you can find very easily on the internet. So
Right.
back to these natural. Uh, I guess we both can agree that these guys, a lot of these guys, probably are unnatural in some form or another. They're using something. You know what? I think you have a little more experience because you turned pro natural. Am I correct?
Yeah.
All right. I didn't quite make it to a natural competition. I'll give you my quick story, then you let us know what happened on your end.
All right.
When I first got the bug to there was a natural show that just passed. A few guys in my gym competed in it, the Hercules Classic. I said, you know what? I'm looking at the pictures of these guys, and I see these guys in a gym face to face that competed, and they did well. One of the guys won the Masters. I'm like, I can stand next to these guys easy. I had all intentions of joining this organization, competing in the Hercules Classic. It was the first Saturday in June. A few months before the show comes around, I go to make the phone call to get all the information I need to get. I was talking to a friend of mine who was pro in the organization. Gives me the number of the guy to call. The president, the head of the organization was Charlie something. I can't even remember what organization it was. I just remember the head guy, Charlie. So I'm talking about, I want to get that information, what you're allowed to use, what you can use. So many over the counter stuff that were really very benign things, and you can't use it. And I asked about payments, what do you have to do, registering and all that. I got to first register with the organization. Then I got to pay the entry fee.
Yeah.
Now I got to pay the testing fee. All this has to be done ahead of time.
Yeah.
So I said to him, well, ask him what kind of test are they going to be doing? They're going to be doing a lie detector test. And now, before I talked to these other guys in my gym that competed there, I knew that a lie detector is fallible. You could be telling the truth and fail, and you could be lying through your teeth and pass. So I mentioned that to him, and I said, "What happens if I take the test and I fail? And do I get at least get my money back? Because you lose all your money that you put down, and you're not allowed to compete in their organization for 7 years. So I'm gonna put out all this money. Then, if by chance I do fail, I'm gonna lose all this, and I can't compete in the organization for 7 years anyway. You know what? If I pop a Valium and smoke a joint first, I'm probably gonna pass this test. Then I'm talking to a couple of guys that are competing in this organization, and I can tell you for a fact they are using and they're passing the test because they're competing in these shows. So what did I do? I said, fuck this. I went to the FBC.
Mm-hmm.
My point is the testing as far as the polygraph and all that is total bullshit. And I knew for a fact there were guys that were competing in those shows that weren't natural. You had a little more of a unpleasant experience was you actually stepped on stage with them.
I'm surprised they didn't do a P test at least.
No, it was just you know what one of the shows in the FPC, I think it was the second year competing, the Empire States, Rob and Kim Klein put it on. These guys, a lot of guys were competing there, trying to earn their place to go to the universe, and the universe was going to be a tested show. So that one show they tested also, but same thing. It's only a polygraph.
That's nothing.
But you competed in is that am I correct? The biggest competition in the amateur organization you were in, and you got a little bit of a screwing over there. A lot of these guys weren't natural.
Well, so I competed for like 3 years as a novice, and then 4 years as a pro. And the Natural Olympia I was pro. That was the last time I competed, and without a doubt, two of the winners were using stuff, no doubt. And I just feel like the organization would rather have someone who makes them look good, like someone who looks spectacular, and maybe turn a blind eye towards something else. And the reason I think so is because they're also very money hungry, meaning they don't generate much revenue. I mean, you should see the crowd, the lack thereof, that's there at most natural shows. Like no one cares. And the Natural Olympia we had this venue in Vegas, and a relatively big auditorium, and it was big, but there were so many chairs and they're just all open. And the only people who ever come are friends and family. There's no outside spectators like you have for the NPC. So long-winded, sentence of saying they'll do anything for money. And I think that clouds their judgment with who they let be the face of their organization.
What was their testing procedures? What was their protocol?
So they would do the P tests. They did it every show, but then after a while, they changed it to random and instead of everybody. And that was to save money. So after they changed it like that, there was 3 years where I never got tested at a show as a pro. And I did get tested at the Olympia, of course. I think that was I think that might have been one of the very few shows as a pro I got tested in. I got tested more as a novice than as a pro, but that was because they changed their criteria in the middle of it. And then it used to be 7 years clean, 10 years clean, something like that. And then they changed that to only 5 years. So yeah, come on.
Quickly, did your screen freeze up on you? Did your image?
No.
On my end, you just froze up a moment ago.
Okay, I think it was still going on my end. It's probably one of those. Remember last time it kind of did that on your end, but it kept going on mine.
Okay, so
Do you want me
probably I mean, there's a couple of times I saw things on my camera on my end, but then when I watched, matter of fact, when we were recording with Jeff, I didn't see a good image of him at all when we were recording. But then when I went back and I watched the recording, it was a great image of him. So I don't think what I see on my end necessarily is what it's recording.
Yeah.
So I could ask you about I want you to finish up about the testing.
Hmm.
Uh, you take a urine test,
Hmm.
but you don't get results right away from the urine test.
No. So what happens is they have a hall of shame on their website, and they post all the losers, whoever get caught, which there's quite a lot of people who get caught. So I'm not saying that they don't do what they say they do, but when I see some people who win who are clearly not natural, and if you do a little history on some of them, you'll find that they're not. And up until recent, I'm going to say it, that Rob Terry guy, I sent you that video. You saw him in the ring. It's like, bro, come on. Even what Scott Steiner called him, a chemical disaster. So, and
Well, tell you something. There are a lot of substances that can be used, and if you stop just a short period, use a short acting compound,
right.
fast acting compound, and you stop within a given time before you get on stage, it's going to clear your system. It's not going to be detected, and you're not losing your gains.
Yeah.
Plain and simple.
Yep. So that right there, just after that, and my whole experience after paying for everything, traveling there, to top it off, the next morning they wanted us to come to the athlete brunch, which they made us pay what, $60 a plate for ourselves. They didn't even like provide it for us, which and then so I
That's
was
not good.
I was so pissed off I didn't even show up the next day for that. And because I was telling my story to you and George, Mr. G, before, but yeah, like I stood in the center of every single group of people, and they didn't let me stand with the top five, and a lot of people said I looked good enough to be top three, top five for sure, top five for sure. So I'll take that. I'll take top five, and then they didn't post the results for like 2.5, 3 months. I was messaging everyone I knew who was connected, and I said, "What's the placings?" They said, "Oh, we got 1 through 5." I'm like, "Yeah, where was I?" And I was thinking like, okay, I'll be like sixth place probably. And then I see
That's like it.
they put me in dead last, bro. I saw that shit. I was
So,
like, "You motherfuckers."
that's like in the old days when you wait when the magazines came out with the results. The competition was already 3 months past. You get the results and the pictures in the magazines 3 months after the show takes place. That sucks that you don't know.
Yeah,
You have to wait 3 months until you know where you placed. That really sucks.
it was the best I
That
ever looked.
sucks.
Yeah, and I thought I was killing it. Even the guy who got fifth place, we were backstage, and he said, "Man, you look great." Like he knew I was gonna beat him, and he didn't even have a pose routine ready, man. He was like, "Yeah, I don't know what I'm gonna do," and then I had everything planned. I had a great pose routine. I was gonna pose to Daughtry, "It's Not Over," and this kid gets up on stage and he looked lost. He looked lost during his pose thing. I was sitting there, just like, "Oh my god, this is painful." I was like, "He's lost up there." And I was like, I could have been up there doing my shit, this guy. But he was connected, he was on one of the teams that sponsor that's the freaking organization of. He's got coaches over there who know people on the fucking. So it's just like stupid, bro. It's hella stupid.
Like I mentioned in the past show, not only in bodybuilding, there's politics have a part of everything in some degree. They have an effect on everything to some degree.
Sure.
There's always some sort of favoritism going on. But like I said, a lot of these guys, I'm sure. I used to watch on. I used to get videos of these. What was it? The Muscle Mania. Is that really big natural? Supposed to be a natural show. It was called Muscle Mania.
Probably, yeah, that sounds about right. Something like that. Yeah.
But, yeah, I think it's supposed to be. natural. And some of these guys that I seen on some of the videos I watched look like they could be natural, but there was some guys there. It was, and not just some. There were a lot of guys. Okay, I got your back. I got some animation back in you. There were a lot of guys that I seen that definitely. I've been around it enough to get a good idea who's using and who's not using, and there were a good percentage of guys that were on that stage that I am sure I put money on it were using.
Yep.
You can use a short acting compound, it's going to clear your system. You stop 2-3 weeks out, even three, I said even 3 weeks out. I would use the short acting testosterones, other short acting compounds, stop a couple weeks out. You continue your prep. You're still training, you're still dieting. Your gains from what you were using aren't going to disappear in those 2 weeks.
Yeah.
They're still there.
Yeah.
You're going to test. You'll test clean because it's clearing your system that quick. You're going to test clean, but you're still on. And when you mentioned about randomly check you year round, did you mention something about that?
Yeah, random and targeted. So they would post it
Did you mention
online.
something to me about them randomly?
They claim they would.
That's an easy way to kind of fix things, isn't it? Also, you can also fix things that if you do things in that manner, you can decide who you want to test and who you don't want to test.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. So I've seen them post online like, oh, we're testing so and he passed. I only heard of them doing the polygraph one time ever in the 7 or 8 years I was with him. So yeah, and I won't say any other names, but there's plenty of other guys there who they were not natural. So
Yeah.
and think of this,
You,
like they catch a lot of people, like you see a lot of people on that Hall of Shame, but I guarantee you they don't catch everybody.
like I told you in my case, I talked to some of these guys in my gym who actually competed here. Some of them I know were natural. Some of them opened up and said to me they were on this and they were on that. So I'm assuming that you're friends or on a friendly basis with other guys that are competing in those organizations or in your organization where you're competing. Do you know firsthand because they opened up to you and said, "Hey, man, I am using something," or is it that hush hush?
Nah, no one ever opened up to me about anything before, so I only know what I see. And there's some, like when some people have gyno that, especially when you didn't see it there before,
Nope.
and then it's there. And some guys who are just so thick and big, you can just tell that it's steroid thick. It's not like a natural uh, advantage that they have. You
Let
can
me
tell.
ask you, it's about the gyno. Since you mentioned the gyno, in the case of gyno, do the judges right away go after them for that? Are they automatically marked out, or do the judge in some cases are the judges ignoring that?
I mean, so the guy who won the stupid board shorts category, 2017, he was already on a banner behind the stage. He was already a favorite, but like I saw him come up, and he didn't have gyno before, but now when I saw him at the Olympia, man, he had like a sliced pineapple there, and I couldn't stop looking. I was like, what the fuck is this? I didn't say that, but
Not bad.
I know everyone was looking at it, and he still won. I'm like, all right. So, and then of course the guy who won the overall, Rob Terry, he had some stuff going on too, and
I
to
was looking at some pictures. Yeah, I was looking at some of the pictures I saw. Yeah, I can see it.
And not to mention, like, you see a video of him 8 months prior in the ring doing his thing, and he's fucking ginormous. Like, you can tell he's in the middle of a cycle with how big he was. Sorry, sorry to say it. That's just what I see. With everything I've ever seen, what I know, that's what I think.
Do you want to mention, or you rather not mention the name of the organization?
I competed in the INBA, PNBA.
Okay.
That's where I
Now,
competed.
would you say, if I was to put it this way, percentage of people that you competed against and the shows you competed in, the ones you competed against, a percentage of them on the average that you have a good feeling were not as natural as they say?
I think like pretty much every show, I'll just say Kiyoshi Moody was pretty freaking huge, and I heard of a video out there of him talking about Test. The guy was so thick and big, you could not put it past him. Whatever, speculate if you want, but I'd say the majority of people that I competed with, that I saw firsthand, the majority, I'm talking like 99%, were natural. Uh, if there
Okay,
were if there were any
that's
who,
bad.
yeah, if there were any who were doing anything, um, it was minimal. But like where I saw most of the unnatural cats was at the Natural Olympia, because I remember when Team China came in the building, and you see all the competitors, they all look pretty similar, and then there's this one guy, he's like the Arnold Schwarzenegger, guy from China. He was so big. And I was like, there's no way, man. Get out of here. This guy's on roids. And I remember seeing him on stage too. He was nowhere near contest shape, but he was so watery. And I don't know the results of that, but there was no way that guy was natural. And then, of course, board shorts guy, and then the guy who won. Uh, and yeah, so that's
You're saying except for the Olympia, for the most part, the majority of people are actually natural in the shows that you've been in.
the ones I've been in, yeah, because like when I go over to the Hall of Shame and I check out, see who's new, and I never saw anyone on there that I was at the same show with. So that kind of shows you like it's not a like they compete worldwide, so there's contests everywhere all the time. So for the amount of people you see on there, I guess, there's thousands of competitors, and a small percentage of that probably you see on the Hall of Shame. Because I never, the only at the Olympia was when I saw some people who I knew for a fact were not natural.
Now let me just play the devil's advocate. You're saying, mention the wall of shame, the wall of shame. But that's the wall of shame is just the people that have actually been caught. That
Yeah.
doesn't mean that there are a lot of people that maybe should be on the wall of shame that just haven't been caught yet. Is,
Yeah,
is
there are
that
some people who
the
belong up there.
same?
Yeah, I'm just saying there's some people who belong up there, and some of them were the faces of that whole organization. That's how I feel. That's my opinion. I'm not saying anything I've said, or you know, it's I don't want to. I'm not trying to slander anyone or like any organization or whatever. That's not my thing. I'm
I
just saying.
understand. I understand.
Yeah, I'm just saying my experience, my point of view, and what I went through, and that's why I don't compete with them anymore. And it was I'd rather go with the NPC that sticks a little more to just judging people for what they are on stage.
I'm get to that in a minute, but so it's would it play the devil's advocate again? It'd
Sure.
be safe to say that there might be more people that you stepped on stage against that were natural than you actually think?
I have no idea because I'm gonna say on that part, I don't know enough to say for sure. All I could say is that what I noticed coming up and all the other shows I've done, never saw anyone who I thought was on roids or ever was. It was only when I got to the Olympia that I saw that firsthand. You know, again, the board shorts guy, I competed with him at several shows before, and I didn't see that on his chest at all. And then all of a sudden, I saw it. And
Yeah. So now you're gonna test the waters in the FBC.
yeah, yep.
What weight do you think you're gonna be coming in around?
God, it's hard to say, man. I right now I'm like 199, 198, and I'm looking like really good right now. It, it'd be hard to make
Light
185.
what light heavyweight?
I might as well. I just really want to do classic physique because that's
Oh, you
just
do class. You're gonna do some physique.
yeah, that's what I'd prefer. But
Okay. So now, what's your height?
5'7",
5'7", and your weight now is how much?
like 199.
And what's the what's the weight for your height in classic?
It's 185 for novice, and then it's 190 if you're a pro.
All right, so it's not that much really you have to lose.
Not really,
You'll
no.
be able, yeah.
So I
You,
could probably do it.
you might lose almost that much in water. Body fat levels down that low already or not?
They're pretty low right now. I'd say it's real safe
Are
to
you
say.
there?
I'd say it's safe to say I'm like 7%.
Okay. Well, you
Oh,
know what? The truth is, some of these numbers that some of these bodybuilders give that they're on stage at, I I question whether they're actually that low. I don't think anybody's stepped on stage with 2% body fat. I don't know if you'd be able to walk. Serious. I'm not making a joke about this. I'm serious. I don't
yeah,
know if you'd be able to be on your feet at an actual 2% body fat.
unless you're Andreas Munster.
Yeah, you understand what I'm saying. I'm not saying that the body fat levels are. Let me tell you something. When you get, if you hit 5% body fat, you're not. It's not healthy. At that point, you're already not healthy at all. And people don't realize 5% body fat, a true 5% body fat, is very, very low.
hmm
Yeah. So when
Yeah,
you hear some numbers, don't, like I said, uh, Ronnie Coleman never measured negative body fat. Like I said, I don't think anybody can know what stand on stage at 2% body fat, real 2%. I don't think the body would be upright at that point.
I
That's just, I could be wrong. That's my personal opinion.
I remember at least like when I was getting ready for the Olympia, when I was in the 170s, I remember it was just like one of those electric machines, but it was like it was one they charged like $60 to use, which they did it for free. But I was testing at 7% and I was like 174 or something like that. And then I got down to like 163 for the Olympia. So I was probably in like the 5% range, maybe. Because I also, on that
The,
scan, it said I had almost no visceral fat.
the judges have no idea what your body fat percentage is. They just see you on stage. So it's what they see. They have no idea what your body fat levels test at.
And
So that's what it really comes down to.
you could be low, you could be the lowest one there, but carrying all the water.
Have you thought about doing the bodybuilding instead, or you just set on doing the classic?
I really want to do classic because I think I have a really symmetrical physique, and I think if I could fit into that class, I would kill it. So
So this is your first time doing in the other organization. Obviously, you're new here. This is your first time doing classic, then.
yeah, it is. So, but the posing is it's very similar to just bodybuilding posing. I read the criteria. They only want you to do like one of your favorite classic poses in your like small 60-second window to pose, and then you got like some pretty standardized poses to do. So,
What's the mandatory poses in for classic?
God, I read over it, but I think it was like a front double and like a probably like an abs and thighs or something like that. And I think they do the rear double bicep. I think that's close, maybe the side chest actually. And then I think that's it. And I think after that you choose your favorite classic pose, and then that's when people get creative with something.
Yeah, they take something right out of the '70s, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm still trying to think about what I want to do as far as like a classic pose. Um, I'm thinking some of the Arnold ones for sure, and it's something that'd probably be like a side pose of some sort, showing the back.
What type of music you like to pose to?
Um, I have one picked out by Starset. I think it was called I forget what it was called. It's a really good song, and it's actually it's kind of the beat's just right, the tempo's just right, but it's kind of like a up to date kind of song with a beat to it, but it's also like a bit of electronic and like a little bit guitar in there. So I don't know. Yeah, it's hard to describe, but it's a great song. And it's a build up song too, so it's cool.
For classic, you don't feel like something slower and smoother is better, or it really doesn't matter?
In my opinion, it's you expressing yourself in whatever manner.
Okay.
And I've seen some people do some crazy song. You could hear it out of context just by itself, but then you see their pose routine with it, you're like, oh, all right, that worked. So I think you as a bodybuilder and an artist, it's important you know what feeling you're gonna give to the crowd with the song you're choosing and how you move to it.
I always tended to use uh, slower going songs that had a lot of meaning to me. Cashmere stands out. I actually used that twice, and I used Bridge Over Troubled Water, and I used to watch the old school posing with those slow, smooth transitions. Ed Corney, still just everything. It was. It wasn't just the shots and the transitions. It was every little detail. His eyes, where they were going, his fingers, and everything. So I tried to uh, copy that type of approach when I used to pose.
I like Lee Labrada. I think he's one of the best ever. Lee Labrada, of course, King Kamali puts on a show.
He has a way now. I mean, I can tolerate him a little more, but there's something about him doesn't. Yeah, he could be entertaining, but doesn't sit too well with me. I don't know. We probably couldn't hang out uh, very well together. But,
Yeah, I
he,
imagine trying to do what
go
he
ahead.
imagine trying to move the way he does and in the show he puts on. I mean, yeah, like it's not like strictly posing per se or like your typical poses, but like the whole thing put together, I think it's very entertaining because I mean, they're. I mean, it's kind of like the show. It's a night show. It's there to entertain, and then you get judged, and the prejudging. So I like more of a show.
Nervous? Are you nervous about your foray into the NPC?
Not really. I'm just gonna, I'll have my routine all practiced. I'll know it by heart, of course, and I'll be as ready as I'll ever be. So I'm there like everybody else to be on stage. I won't wear my contact lenses, so I won't be able to see the crowd. So that'll help, you know. And then, yeah, usually what I do too
Have
is
you
I'll have a
seen any of these people?
say what?
Have
What'd you
you
say?
seen any of your potential competition? Do you know of any of these guys, or you have no idea who you're stepping on stage with?
I have an idea. There's some guys, that go to my gym who are probably going to compete there. I think the owner of my gym might compete there too. Uh,
Okay.
so
You don't want to piss the owner off.
say what now?
You don't want to piss the owner off.
Oh no, he wouldn't care. He
Yeah.
wouldn't care if it happened like that. He's like me. We're all the same. We're like, may the best man win.
But you know what? Doesn't matter who you're up against. Your job is to go out and prepare yourself the best you can and present the best package you can. Even if you truly are the best, you can't determine what the judges are gonna ultimately do. All you're gonna do is do what you have, do your homework, do what you have to do, and just bring in uh, the best package you can bring in.
Yeah, that's how I'm looking at it. If I make weight for this class, I'll be as big as you can possibly be. There's no way to be bigger. And if I'm cut to the bone and I have good posing, it's after that it's just who has a better looking physique, who was blessed with better genetics.
What show? What show is this?
The Legion.
Oh, it's the Legion. Isn't that's wait a second. That's a pro am.
Yeah, yeah. So
What
my
is it?
my 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 goal is to look better than the pros, but I won't stand with them, but they'll just see my picture.
Legion Sports, the Legion Sports Festival, right?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Okay, that's and when is this coming up? And
October 8th.
so you got wait, with June, July, August, September. You got 4 solid months to get ready, and you're not too far off, are you?
No, and that's been my goal. So I've been prepping myself, getting ready for when I prep with Jeff. And I think we said we are going to start either 3 or 4 months out. I'm so lean right now. I haven't sent him any pictures yet, but I'm light years ahead of how I looked when we started for the Olympia. So it's not going to be much to lose, but it's going to be hard to lose what I got right now because uh, it's yeah.
So you're just going to basically work maintaining what you got until about how many weeks out do you really start to are you to get off the last bit? Because you're not too far away, and you don't want to come in at the lower. What is the weight? Excuse me. What is the weight class from what to what?
I think the lowest was 175 for this one. So I think it's 175 to 185 is what it is. Might even be
So 10 pounds.
170.
10 pounds. 10. You don't want to come in on the lower end
Oh,
because
there's
10 pounds can make a big difference.
there's no way I could come in any lower than 185. There's no way. If I can't make that, then I'd have to compete in the light heavy bodybuilding division.
Well, the light heavy cuts, that's 170. I think it's 176 and a quarter to 196 or 197 and a quarter. I don't remember the exact. But I personally thought you weren't going to be doing the light heavyweight. I thought you would fit in good with the light heavyweights.
That's what I've heard from a lot of people, man. There's people at the gym who are like, man, you're trying to do classic, you're too big. So I'm very modest, dude. I'm as modest as they come, and I'm like, you think so? You think so? I don't know. I would like to be.
At 5'7", you wouldn't be a tall light heavyweight. So you're gonna look pretty thick. If you're at the top, towards the top or closer to the higher end of the weight class, you're gonna look pretty thick next to some of these guys, because that's on the shorter side for a lot of the light heavyweights you might be going up against if you did that division.
Yeah, I'd probably still have good chances, to be honest. But I would like to, let's just say like a pipe dream here. I walk in and I kill everything. I win. I get a pro card. I go to the nationals. I kill that. How cool would it be to stand on stage, like the same stage as Chris Bumstead or Breon, or people like that?
Well, let me ask you this: What have you thought about just doing both, doing crossing over, and doing both divisions? I've done that. I used to do that. I competed in the open bodybuilding, my weight class, and I competed in the masters. And my first 4 or 5 competitions, I competed in uh, 2 divisions. My first competition, I was in a novice, and then they talked me into uh, competing in jumping into the open lightweight also. So my first 4 shows, I did 2 divisions. You could do 2 divisions and see and test the waters in both.
Yeah. That's a good idea. I was thinking about doing like originally I was going to do novice, masters novice, and then the open novice for just classic, but I could do classic and then light heavy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you test the waters in both and just see,
Idea.
and you get a better idea where you're gonna fit in better.
Yeah.
You plan on competing? You plan on competing more after this, or you want to get one much? You want to go a little further?
Yeah. This show will kind of help me determine. I mainly for now, I just want to I'm doing it really for fun. That's it. I'm not like putting everything into it like all these other guys. I mean, it is my life. It's my lifestyle. So it's not like I'm doing anything half-assed. It's just this is still something that's fun for me, and I'm going to keep it that way. And if I can place really well while having fun with it, then I'm going to keep going with it and see what I can do. But I'm going to keep the rest of my life in balance. I'm not letting this take over anything. You know what I'm saying? Because some people, that's all they do. And like Flex, he had to retire.
You don't have to worry about any testing anymore.
No.
But you are doing like the TRT dose now, or are you just
Yeah.
totally?
Yeah, it's TRT.
And that's basically where you're gonna stay throughout your prep.
No, I'll probably like bump it up a little bit with just like two things maybe. You know, maybe 3, I don't know, but I'm not crazy. Uh,
Smallest, most effective dose.
exactly. That's all I need.
Yeah,
And plus,
yeah.
if I did anything crazy, then I might get too big again for my category. I'm already big enough. I don't need to do nothing crazy.
All right, we've been going at this for a little while now. Uh, I might, I forgot to say this in the beginning. Uh, you might be watching this on Muscle Central. If you are, make sure you go to Chris's channel, Buffy the Iron Slayer. Check out his content. If you're watching this over there, come over to Muscle Central. Check out my content. We were started off with these natural guys. Uh, is it safe to say that whether you're a true natural or you're enhanced, the bodybuilding preparation, especially by the time you step on stage, uh, is either one of them a healthy endeavor?
Yeah, either way you go, there's going to be some unhealthy aspects about it. There's ways you can be smart about it and be healthier, but ultimately, bodybuilding is a unhealthy endeavor if you plan to step on stage for that period of time. The rest of your life can be very healthy, but yeah.
Yeah. But if, like you said, like Chris said, if you do things right, and for the most part, it's only a short window of time. So if you take care of yourself and do everything else right, it's a very short period of time. And as long as you don't do anything crazy, but either way you look at it, it's not the most healthiest. And these natural shows, they're built natural. Uh, how how natural are they? Yes or no? Are they natural or are they enhanced shows?
It's mixed because you got the guys in there who are obviously doing it and somehow they're not getting caught. Anyone could speculate why they're not, but it's a fact that they're in there, they're competing, especially since they do have people they catch. So right there's your evidence. There's people who are caught, and then there's definitely people who are not caught, and they're competing in there with guys who are being natural to the bone. And the fact that they can't fully regulate on that and it's too expensive, it's just a wash. It's not worth it to me.
I forgot to ask you before. Uh, these guys that are getting caught, are these the guys that, if they weren't caught, would have been the top places, or just any particular guy in the lineup?
So some of them would win their categories because they put on the Hall of Shame. They would win that night and then they get caught later. So, but I've definitely seen some guys who just look like a chemical disaster, and they'd get like third place and then they still get caught. So they don't always win, but there's definitely some guys I've seen who win their category and they look light years ahead of the people they just beat. So Captain Obvious,
Right.
you know.
I think both of us can agree on this that uh, uh, things aren't always what they appear to be. Natural. Some people believe that natural competitions, natural bodybuilding is safer and healthier, and not necessarily so. And just because something is billed natural and drug tested doesn't mean it is. It doesn't mean if you want to step on stage and that you really don't want to go that route, but you have the urge to step on stage, it doesn't mean that you shouldn't anyway, because some of these guys are quote unquote cheating. If that's what you want to do it because it's fun. If that's what you enjoy, it's going to be fun. And you're, like me and Chris were mentioning about him going on stage, his job is not to worry about the other people he's going up against. If you decide to make that move and compete, your job is to just be the best that you can and be satisfied with that. In the long run, the bodybuilding is not objective, it's very subjective.
Yeah.
And that's about all I have to say. Chris, do you have any final words you want to give us?
Yeah, I just like I said, I'm not trying to talk bad on natural bodybuilding or anyone in particular or any organization in particular. I'm not. I just shared my experiences and my views, my opinions. So that's what they are, and take it as you want. And furthermore, I just want to appreciate everyone for watching and giving us that support. You know, if you plan to bodybuild, whether you're natural or not, there's a smart way to go about it and an irresponsible way to go about it. Either way, be smart.
I think you're going to keep us posted on your progress.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I will. I've been going through a lot lately at home, and so my YouTube posting hasn't been up to par. But I'm getting back on track, so I will definitely keep everyone updated.
If one of us technically deficient people could figure this out, maybe we'll try to share some of the pictures of Chris on the screen as we're talking, some of his progress pics. Have you had any luck figuring out how to do that?
Yeah, I mean, I know how. There's a way to load a picture on here. I haven't done it yet, but I have pictures that I saved, and I haven't tested it yet. I guess we got to try talking or something on the side and figure it out.
We can give it a shot while we're recording also. If it works, we're in. If it doesn't, we'll try to figure out what's going on. There's still a lot of things I'm trying to figure out. Chris, this has been a lot of fun. I think we've got a lot of stuff out there. It's getting about time for me to jump on the treadmill, get my cardio. I've been doing 6 days a week the last few weeks. So usually I'm off Thursday, so I have more time. But I'm back working Thursdays again also. Okay, I'm about done. Chris, we're going to get together again on Saturday probably.
Yeah,
and we're going to have
Josh and Jeff, they'll join us.
Oh, okay. All right, great. All right. That should be good. We'll get something good going. Maybe we can get a little bit of a heated debate going on things. I'm sure between the four of us, there's going to be a lot of things that we're not going to agree on.
We'll find out.
Let's give the people watching some entertainment. All right, Chris. We'll get back together again on Saturday, and it's been fun. Okay, everybody, make sure you subscribe to Buffy the Iron Slayer, subscribe to Muscle Central, turn on your notifications for both. This way, whenever we put up videos, you're going to be notified. All right, Chris, I'll speak to you in a few days.
All right, Michael, take care, brother. Thanks, everybody.